Hi everyone, it's me again, Ras. So today I am going to show a simple Christmas card. I'm going to demonstrate how I will make this particular Christmas card using just watercolors, my watercolor brush. I will use also my pencil and beads and string here. So my beads are from my stash. I used to make my own fashion accessories, but now that I have a problem with my eyesight, so I stopped doing them. But today I will use them for a card that I want to design. So this project was inspired by a card that I saw in Pinterest. So I thought of making or customizing my own version of that. So you would need the watercolors for this also, because we're going to paint a Christmas tree, and then we're going to adorn it with ornaments out of string and beads. Okay, so I will list down all the materials that you will need for this project. This is very simple. It will take you probably less than 30 minutes to make this. So just the other day I painted this Christmas tree. As you can see, it's really bushy and I use watercolor for this. But today we're going to make a simple version of that with just minimal sketching and painting. So actually what you can just do is sketch a triangle like that. It doesn't have to be really straight or symmetrical, and then you just sort of sketch its spot here like that. See, it's very simple. It's almost childish. Okay, so it doesn't have to be really complicated. So every November and December, my kids and I use watercolors and papers to make our own cards, Christmas cards. So we give them away to our loved ones, such as my kids' grandparents, my siblings, their aunts and uncles. So those are the kind of gifts that we give to our loved ones. Most of them are handmade. Just last year, I gave paintings to my thesis advisors in my master's. So, and I'm happy that they appreciated the handmade gifts that I gave them. So for starters, you would need to actually, there are two sides of this paper. I use the rough side. You may also use the smooth side of the paper if you want, but whatever paper you have, you may use that also. Just don't use Oslo or bond paper. You should use at least 25% cotton paper for designed for watercolor for this project, so that you will have the same effect that I'm going to do with my project. Okay, so first you would need to wet your let me just check if this is really recording, because sometimes I do mistakes of forgetting to record. So say it's recording. Okay, so I'm just wetting this paper, the triangle here. Okay, so if you notice, my card is big. The reason for that is I want to show you the whole project, and then if I do this small, you might not see it well with my limited phone camera. It's quite an old phone, so I made this card huge for all of you. But normally I make cards about half the size of this paper. Okay, so I just wet this. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you go beyond the line. That's no problem at all. With watercolor, I like it to be not so strict in terms of the boundaries of the drawings. That's what I love about watercolor. You get accidents that turn out to be okay. Like in this particular project, my triangle was actually much narrower than this, but because the watercolor or the paper is wet and the color spreading, it made a bushier tree, which I kind of like, because it turned this art into something that's a little bit whimsical. Okay, so that's what we're going to try to achieve here also. Okay, but the thing is, the Christmas tree has to be at least generally triangular in shape. Okay, so now you may explore different kinds of paints for this, or colors, but for me, let's stick to the traditional color of Christmas trees or pine trees. So here we're not really going to paint, but rather we're just gonna use the property of the paper to spread the colors like that. So I'm using my Maris watercolor set. This is Artist Colors for beginners. So I made a video about how I swatch this and my review about this particular paint set. It's actually good for beginners because it can be pigmented and has light fast rating, and also it's cheap. I got it as raffle price from my watercolor teachers. Okay, so here we're just dropping the colors like that. We're not necessarily drawing anything in particular. I'm gonna add some blues here also, just to allow the paints to mix together. So yeah, like I said, this is just we're not drawing anything in particular, we're just letting the colors blend. Okay, like that. And I'm taking advantage of the wetness of the paper to let the colors spread. So far I've used cerulean blue, phthalo blue, sap green, lime green, and hooker's green. So whatever greens and blues you have in your palette, you may use that. The idea here is to let the colors mix on their own without, you know, pushing them together to blend. So here I'm just showing you the property of paper, of this particular paper, as well as the paints when it's wet. Wet watercolor paper allows for blending of the colors on their own. So that's what I love about watercolors. Sometimes you can be expressive with this art, with this paint. You can be as expressive as you want, or you can just let the watercolors speak for you, basically. Okay, one thing that I learned from my teachers is that in watercolors, you don't need to push the watercolors to do or control it according to your desire. It's also possible to make the watercolors blend on their own and still make a great art. Okay, there. Okay, so maybe I need to add a little more bit of yellow here. There, see how the colors are mixing together like that. There, simple as that. So as you can see, I didn't paint at all. I just dropped the colors, wet on wet. So wet paper, wet paint. There, and then you just have to let this totally dry, air dry. And while that's drying, I will attempt to do the same for my pot. Okay, so for the pot, I want to use reds and pinks. How about that? Okay, there. Again, I didn't necessarily did any particular brush stroke. I just dropped the colors like that and allow it to blend. Okay, so there. So this is going to be easy, kids, because no particular drawing needed. You just need to sketch the triangle, the general shape of your tree, and then just the pot, and let it dry for a bit before we add the the string and the beads. Okay, so I'll be back after this one has dried already. If you feel like it's too wet or the water is dripping from the sides and you don't want that, you may also use a clean piece of tissue and just dab it clean like that. Okay, so as in my case, the water has pooled on the sides like that, and actually I'm fine by it, but if that bothers you, you may dab it with clean tissue. Okay, just like that. Okay, so you don't need to worry about. Okay, there. See, that has an effect of making the those white patches, which also fine by me. And then if you want to add more colors, feel free to do that. So my brush is still wet, but I'm going to wet it a bit. And then I will just add some colors. Okay, so I'm just gonna drop again some colors, but since this is already dried a bit, so you can just dab just to add some textures. So just to add some textures on your tree, you can also do that if you feel like it looks flat. So just to make it a bit more dimensional. There. So again, this is just a whimsical tree. We're not trying to paint a realistic Christmas tree. Okay. Just like that. So here, we're actually exploring the property of watercolors, which is how it blends while it's still damp or wet. Okay, like that. Okay, and if you find that there are white, rather mga droplets, again, it's easy to clean it off using just water, piece of clean tissue. Okay, and then if you are not as patient as me, baby, maybe you can also dry. You may also dry using your mom's hair dryer or your parents' hair dryer. That is also possible. Okay, like that. Or you can just let it air dry. I believe air drying is much better than using the hair dryer, because when you air dry it, you just allow the colors to dry on its own, and that allows for more blending. Okay, so there. So I'm gonna air dry this some more, and then I'm just gonna add the beads later. Hi, I'm back. So my Christmas tree has dried a bit. We just turned on the fan because it's kind of hot here in Philippines. So yeah, so the next step is to grab, so ask your parent to help you on this, because this one is pointy. So this is what I will use to punch some hole at the sides of my Christmas tree. So this is dried a bit, not totally dry, but at least a little dry. Okay, so I'm just gonna punch some hole along the sides, making sure that they are aligned, and then I will show you why I'm punching some holes on my artwork. This may seem weird for some of you, but here, so I'm just using this piece of styro to help me punch this, poke some holes around my tree. Okay, and we just, okay, so for this particular project you would need a piece of string, any colors you want, but I'm going to use something like red or rust orange color for the string, and then there, and then I'm gonna string some beads sa string na yon. Okay, so just back there, and then maybe the hole that the string is a bit bigger than, make your string much bigger siguro, or I mean you may also use thread. So if you have thread in your sewing kit, in the color that you like mine, perhaps red, so you can also use that. And then we will add the string around here. Okay, I will speed up the process later, but let me just show you the real time version here. And then we'll just try to pick the string on the other side like that. So you may also use thread for this one. Okay, so my string is a little thick, that's why I'm having a hard time pushing it through the hole. Okay, so maybe I'll just replace my string. Hang on a sec. So I'm back. I got myself a needle for crocheting, so that I can make or punch a bigger hole around the side of my tree. So don't make the same mistake I did like a while ago, that I used small hole for my string. Okay, so, and then I also got a thinner version of that string. It's not as thick as the first string that I tried to use. Okay, and then I'll get back to you in a bit. So now I have my Christmas tree with holes on the side, and then I'm just gonna push this string in using my crochet needle. I don't crochet actually, but my mom used to crochet a lot, and I still have her needles. I believe she left it here at home. And then there, it's inside, and then just have to make a knot that will secure it in place. Okay, so maybe you probably need you need help from your parent to do this. Okay, so here I just made a knot to secure the string. So you probably have an idea already on what I'm going to do. So basically I'm just gonna put some strings on my tree, and then add some beads as decor for my tree. Okay, so I'll be back in a bit. So I just cut my string. I just estimated the length that I will be using for this project, and then I'm just gonna add a bead through the string like this. So the bead that you need to use will have to be something that will fit, or a bead that has enough hole. The size of the hole is should fit your string. Okay. Okay, let me just use I'm using a wooden bead because this has big hole. Okay. And then you just need to push it string. Okay. fun, and then you can just ask your kids to, or you can just arrange the beads according to your liking. So this is basically it. This is the Christmas tree with beads. Okay, so I hope you learned some lesson from this. Make sure that your bead hole will fit your string, so make sure that they are matched. Don't make the same mistake that I did initially in this project, but all you do is just add your greetings around the sides. If you also have gold stickers, maybe. I don't have a Christmas sticker, but this is something that you may also add, something like Make-A-Wish, for example. Let's see, this is gonna work. There. Yeah, you can just add something like this here, Make-A-Wish, and then Merry Christmas. Right. And then you can just write your message below or behind, but I suggest that you write it inside a card if you're making this in a folded card. Okay, so that's the project. Okay, this is actually fun because it's like moving the beads in an abacus. There. Okay, thanks for watching.